Welcome to another episode of Listen to Us Rant About Movies. I'm Wes Ford.
And I'm Zach Harris.
We rant about movies and drink while we do it. On this episode, we'll be ranting about what we've been watching, including discussions on our forced films, and then we'll be reviewing Steve McQueen's Widows in the Netflix Coen Brothers film, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Tonight, we're drinking a Blue Moon Winter Wheat.
Winter Wheat.
It's a spiced Abbey Ale. And we're going to give it a little taste.
Let's get a sip going.
Cheers.
I'm a sucker for the Abbey.
Abbey Ale's good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's my kind of bear.
I like it. It's good. It's not like as fruity as a lot of like Blue Moon's stuff is, which is good sometimes, but I don't know, it's nice to get like a little differentiation in there, you know?
I would say it's also a little more subdued than other Abbeys I've had.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you definitely get that spice, but it's not like as intense as some of the other ones. Which, you know, and it could be a good thing for you, depending on what you're into, you know?
It's true, and a lot of Abbey Ales are very strong. This one's not, because in Blue Moon, it's only 5.9%.
Nice, look at that.
But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. All right, well, Wes, it's time to talk about that thing again that we always talk about, which is that the podcast is brought to you by Audible. And you can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM. You can choose from 180,000 titles for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3. And if you like what you hear on the episode, you can find other episodes at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube.
I like how you always put that little pause at the end. Stitcher and YouTube. Which is, one of our biggest ones. But, man, 180,000 titles, Zach? Are you kidding?
That's how many I counted. No one's done a second count yet. So...
Oh, you did that by yourself?
Yeah, I spent some time a couple weeks ago counting how many. I would like if someone double-checked my count, though, because, you know, I'm not the most reliable counter. Especially when you're staying up for 14 hours to do it. You know what I mean? But
you only counted a couple weeks ago. We've had this deal for months now.
Well, it was an estimate before, but I wanted to fact check to make sure that we were presenting something solid on the cast, you know?
Well, and you got it perfectly right. That was a good guess.
Well, it was a couple over, but I bumped it down, you know, to keep consistency.
To round it.
It was 180,006 in actuality, but once again, could have counted wrong.
That's hilarious. Well, we're going to talk about our forced films. We're finally getting to these. We're forgot these several times, but finally watched them. These forced films that we gave each other are Loving Vincent and Lair of the White Worm. I gave Zach Loving Vincent. He gave me Lair the White Worm. Zach, what do you think of your forced film?
I liked it. I thought the animation was obviously like incredibly impressive. Potentially too good at times, but
right,
it's pretty unbelievable. And I liked that there was the like imperfections in it. Like I think it would have been easy to do the painting style, but to like do it like animation cells, but in the same style, you know, but like you can see when things are moving that they're patching the spots that they just were at, which was nice.
Yeah, totally.
Like the windmill, there was one shot near the beginning of a windmill and you could like see the ridges, and like I like that aspect of it because it makes it feel more homemade, because it does look so good that if it didn't have those imperfections, it would feel fake. You know what I mean? Which would like undercut the whole thing.
For sure.
I did think it was structurally kind of strange. Like, were these based on actual accounts of people? Like, I know that the stories were probably sourced from actual stories, but like it felt like a documentary, but presented like a narrative. Like, it wasn't a documentary, but I didn't really get a sense of like the main character's progression through it. Like a movie I was talking about with Sean, because I was talking to him about it earlier, and we were talking about Waltz with Bashir, because that's like a documentary that they animated over, like had people do animated over it, but there is a feeling that it's building, and like the main character is like on a journey for the knowledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where as this, it kind of felt like an excuse. It was like, okay, where do we fit in this story? Well, maybe he goes here and talks to that person. And they were just like very small, like 30-second to a minute interludes almost between the stories sometimes, you know? Yeah. You like talk to this person, you'd be like, well, I wonder where it'll take me next. And then he like walks to the store and then it's like, oh, hey, did you know him? You know? So that aspect of it felt kind of stagey in something that was trying to feel more like a narrative. Like, I almost wished it just went more in the direction of like, these are just people, like, you know what I mean? But then again, it's like, you obviously aren't going to have the actual people that were telling these stories, so I understand it's not possible.
It's not technically a documentary either.
Yeah, exactly. But it kind of felt like it was a strange middle ground, where I think I was expecting more of like a visceral sort of like experience of his work, you know? But it felt...
It was totally not what I expected either in terms of plot. It's more like straightforward than I imagined it.
Yeah.
But it still is kind of rough. It's like the writing's not quite perfect on the script and where the plot goes.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a little patchy, but I don't know to answer your question. I don't know if these are based on real stories or what. I don't know. It does feel like maybe it's based on, it's like word of mouth things.
Yeah,
maybe
which
just like
I'd assume that
just like
they're sourced from
or
some, old story or tale about him or something like that. But I guess it just wasn't what I was expecting. And while I do think it's interesting, I wasn't sure how I felt about the actors looking like themselves.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
It's like, I like the idea in theory, but it kind of felt distracting because it felt like a movie that was supposed to be like immersing you in like the style of his work, but I felt like I was like constantly being like pulled out of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
But I mean,
you're being reminded like, oh, I know that person.
Yeah, totally. When it's like, it doesn't have to be that. Just make them look however you want. You know, you're painting it, you know? Granted, it's easier to, have a reference, but it's just like, oh, is that the guy from Game of Thrones? Yeah, that's definitely the guy from Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's distracting, but it's also kind of cool because it's like they got to use that talent to make the voice and to have the motion and the facial
they are really capturing a performance, which I like that aspect of it.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm kind of torn on that. Like, it was distracting, but then like, I don't know, are we doing like a Beowulf thing where it's Ray Winstone, but he like looks kind of like a weird skinny Ray Winstone, and I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then it becomes less of a performance because they're like augmented, but I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that, but it was a little strange.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely it's all about the animation.
Absolutely.
And that's the main highlight of it.
It's fucking amazing. So, know.
It's spot on to his work, and it goes through all the like the timeline of his work as well. It like, it's really cool. It's really cool, and
it's very impressive. Some of the shots, I do think
it's worth watching just for that.
Absolutely. Some of the shots that they picked too felt a little strange. It was never like this is bad, but I thought it was interesting that it was very much shot like a movie, but it seems like more of an opportunity to shoot a movie like paintings, if that makes sense. Like there weren't a lot of like wides. It was a lot of like medium dialogue, a lot of medium shots. But then again, it's like that I understand that because, you know, painting a wide and patching it for a 3-minute scene of dialogue, it's insanely hard. Right. You know what I mean? It's like they needed to break it up to be able to like allocate it to animators, and like it's not, doesn't make logistical sense to do it the other way. But on one hand, it did feel like there's a trade-off for that. You know what I mean? When you're watching it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, what'd you rate it?
Probably like 3.5.
That's fair. I think that's what I rated it.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch, and like it's all about the animation. Really, it's just very impressive. It's like it's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, and you can tell it's frame by frame, like all hand drawn. It's really cool.
Yeah.
An ambitious project for sure.
Definitely. Anytime there's like a pan or something, it's just like, holy shit. You know, because you can see it moving, but it's like tracking very well, but like you can see it changing. It's interesting.
Yeah, totally. All right, so my film was Lair of the White Worm.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It was good. Good in like a really bad B movie type of way, but I also really loved that aspect of it too. You know,
it's very strange. It's kind of hard to pin down.
It's very strange. It's different than, and that it's like way different than I expected. I guess I didn't expect the plot out of it, and it ended up being just like this, almost like this student film idea that had like the budget to kind of place them in the actual sets, like having this cult come back from the Roman times and have all these weird visuals and I don't know. It was very weird and strange, but very entertaining in certain aspects of it. I thought the makeup effects were pretty cool and outrageous. Like
very
they're
cartoony,
pretty ambitious near the end.
But like
yeah.
But it strikes a strange balance of like the cartoony versus the real. Like when she has the eyes and the teeth and stuff, it's like goofy, but it's all happening in this like realistic space, which makes it feel really strange.
Yeah, it is goofy and has like a just like a B movie horror look and feel to it. I did like how it was sort of just, it was from like from England, from the UK, and it had all aspects of different peoples from the UK. That was kind of interesting. They had Scotland, England, Britain, and real locations too. Like you had this really old like house, this old manor that it took place in, and like sort of like these underground like tunnels and such, and that was pretty cool. And I'm still processing it. I literally watched it today, so I just thought it was entertaining to say the least.
Nice.
And there were times where I was laughing at the film, and there were a couple times it spooked me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh shit. You know, it was had some spooky moments.
Yeah, definitely. There's some actually pretty effective like little beats in there. But it's weird. I feel like it rides a strange line because it is very goofy and like, but I feel like it's like aware that it is. And I mean the guy Ken Russell, have you seen any of his other movies?
You know, he sounds really familiar, but
he's done Altered States is the big one. But he's done like The Devils, and he did the Tommy movie. He did a movie called Crimes of Passion. He's always
The Devils. Yeah, no, I've seen that.
It's always like
that's where I know him from.
A weird.
He likes
it's like
the occult.
Yeah,
stuff.
It's like a strangely elevated genre where it's very much still indulging in the genre and like being silly, but you can tell that there's purpose behind the choices in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do also really like the use of like the wide angle lenses in it. Some nice like real silly wide shots and a lot of like lower like really wide stuff like of her like prowling around the house and like
and it still kind of feels like it's from like Bram Stoker. It has like his stamp on there. You could tell it's from one of his novels, just on the vampirism inspiration there with the snakes. There was a lot of nudity as well. Didn't expect that much nudity. But
Ken likes his nudity, it seems like. She's like, we'll just have like 30 naked people over here, you know?
It's got the look and feel of a film much older than a movie from '88.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's like it's an interesting vibe. It kind of reminds me of like a much lighter Wicker Man that like doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah, there's definitely some silliness,
like
that it knows about.
Yeah, but then also it's able to like leverage that with a few moments that are actually creepy, or where you like actually care that like these people are gonna get killed. You know, I love the cop who like gets seduced, who's like real goofy, and there's all these like low angle shots of him being like, ah, you know, like
yeah. It's like it's playing in the genre and having fun within the genre, which was nice. Like I really noticed it with the moments near the end. No spoilers, but when Hugh Grant is like talking to his like butler or whoever he is, and he's like, "Can I go now, sir?" And he's just like, "Make sure the door is unlocked and the handsmaids are locked in their doors." And he's like, "The door unlocked," and like just like playing with that was really fun. And seeing Hugh Grant like so young and like in this role, was pretty funny too.
Yeah, because he's playing kind of like a posh douche, you know. So it's like,
he's this incredibly rich lord who has this like legacy, but he's like totally not afraid to get his hands dirty either.
Yeah, totally.
It was a good character.
Yeah. I like. Or what were we gonna say?
I was just gonna say I just like how he conveniently had all this knowledge too.
Totally.
About like, and it was just like everything was easy to find answers to every single step of this mystery.
It's
of
just
this puzzle.
Like, well, then the legend of the town is blah 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 blah. You know, and it's like, well, that would lead me here. You know, it's like
that leads me to Lady whatever her name is, who's right down the street. Yeah. And they conveniently found, like, because they had the excavation site, found the skull of the snake, and they dug just like a little bit further, and it's like, oh, there's the label of the snake on the cross.
There's like the big like weird tile thing. It's just like, and he dig like a foot lower there, bud.
The girl has the vision of that, and he like leads her to it, and he's like, is this what you saw? She's like, yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's like, all right, well then. It's just kind of like, you know, just kind of, all right, sure, you know?
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
Another thing that I like about it is that it's definitely a horror movie, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's not violent. Like, there is violence, but it's not, like, super graphic and gory. There's not that much gore. But it doesn't feel like it's holding back. It's just kind of
it's not as horrific as a lot of the movies in its caliber.
Yeah, you know? And it's also not as like gross as a lot of like the lower tier ones that it's kind of like next to, like indulging in that style. Like it's not like it's like, because sometimes when a horror movie gets goofy and it's not taking itself seriously, that means that like everyone's head's gonna get chopped off and like everyone's gonna be covered in blood and there's gonna be pus coming out. You know what I mean? It's nice because it's not gross or like super violent, but it's still definitely horror, which I like.
Oh, definitely still within the horror realm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, very enjoyable, and the ending was great. It was just like a delightful little like. I'm glad it ended that way.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
It had like a nice little ending.
And the really wacky
Um,
theme song too that they play in the bar
Oh,
at the
yeah.
beginning. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Some of the visuals were like a little, I think, almost on the bad side though. Like the visuals, as in like
The visions and stuff, like the
like
VHS.
the visions, the green screen things that they had going on. It was borderline like bad.
Yeah.
But it was fine. Like the whole movie, it played with it. It's all about just having fun with the genre. I think.
Yeah.
And overall, you just let that go, and it's like this is all just like a fun watch.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I'd give it 4 stars.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I had a fun time watching it.
I'm glad.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, well that wraps it up for our watched films. What are we going to watch next time? For me, I want you to watch Lost City of Z.
One I've been meaning to watch.
Yeah.
Been snoozing for too long on that bad boy.
It was a solid honorable mention of that year.
Mm-hmm.
It was real close up into my top 10. A lot to like about that movie.
That's got
I'm sorry, it is long, and I apologize.
It's okay.
But it's going to be worth it. It's I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on it.
It's got Bobby P and Chucky H, right?
I don't know.
Robert Pattinson and Charlie Pacific Rim.
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, I knew it was H something. Hunnam? Hingham?
Hunnam. Charlie Hunnam.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, dude. And it's got a little guy from Spider-Man. What's his name? Tom Holland. He has a small part.
I like little guy from Spider-Man. You know, the 1 foot tall man.
The one that's playing Spider-Man. Yeah. And Ian McDiarmid is in it as well.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a good Amazon story, and yeah, curious to hear your thoughts.
Hell yeah. Well, for you, I picked The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, which I talked about like earlier this year at some point. I watched for the first time.
A few episodes ago, I think.
It's a fucking amazing movie. Was like, it was some.
I don't remember what you said, honestly.
Yeah, it was a little while ago because I've since kind of dug into his filmography. Peter Greenaway. I hadn't seen any of his movies, but one of my good friends is all about him, and every time we'd hang out, he'd be like, "Oh, you watch it yet?" And I'm like, "Nah, I forgot," like. And then I finally watched it, and it's just like very, very unique director. Really good performances. I think it's from like late 80s. Let me see here.
He's still working.
Yeah, 89.
The industry too.
Yeah, he's around. He's doing shit.
He's got stuff coming out next year.
Oh yeah? Shit, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fucking banger, man. You got a really good Michael Gambon. You got Helen Mirren. You got a little baby Tim Roth in there.
What's it about?
It's like all kind of takes place, or I guess not all, but primarily takes place in this restaurant that Michael Gambon owns. He's like a mobster and just a really terrible piece of shit, and pretty abusive to Helen Mirren. And it's kind of about her trying to escape, having a romance with another man that like was at the restaurant. And it's all very location based, but they find, I don't want to tell you what it is because it's interesting to see, but there's really interesting set design and production design based around the locations. That's really that I've never seen in something before. And I don't know, it sounds like a almost single location movie about like an abusive relationship. Sounds not like the most exciting thing, but
yeah,
it is so insanely watchable. I felt like it was like 10 minutes long, and
it's rated NC-17.
It's pretty rough. Yeah, there's a lot of shit in there. But the score is absolutely unbelievable. Michael Nyman, huge champion. Really good cinematography, really good performances. Thing's a fucking banger, dude. Thing's a fucking banger, dude.
Okay, well, that's The Cook, The Thief, The Wife, and Her Lover. That's our forced films. Nice, man. Well, let's start talking about what we've been watching.
Alrighty.
What you been watching?
Let's see. What have I been watching? I guess I can start. I watched, I was fired up. Ordered, a couple months ago, ordered Police Story on Blu-ray. I watch it. We talked about it. I'm fucking fired up on Police Story. Thing was fucking amazing. So then I'm like, all right, Eureka's putting out other Jackie Chan movies. Let's get those in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get them in. Poppin' City Hunter. Not directed by Jackie Chan. And holy shit, what a waste of $16. Movie is fucking shit. But it's tough because parts of it are incredible. Like, it is...
Really?
It is the zaniest, most boneheaded, like, live-action cartoon style that I've seen in anything. And part of that is amazing. You know what I mean? There's, like, a skateboard chase, and they, like, he's, like, getting chased on the skateboard by a gang of people on skateboards, and he's like riding through this building, and he jumps through like a plate glass window, and then at the same time all the skateboarders go through all the other windows, and it's like shot from below, and he's going, whoa, like audio, like really goofy ADR, like whoa, you know, like really wide lenses to make it look like they're jumping like 1,000 feet high, stuff like that, you know. Weird cutaways of him like in a white room when like the girl is mad at him, like hitting him on the head with like a giant cartoon hammer, like bop bop, and then he gets like compressed. It's like, oh no, I'm tiny. It's just like,
what is happening?
Like so zany, and I was loving it. And then it was just like this weird moment, like in the beginning, where his partner dies or something, and he promises that he'll take care of his daughter under the one request that he like won't get with the daughter, who's like a small child. And he's like, yeah, sure, you know? And then immediately is like, ooh, I shouldn't have. It like flashes forward in time. He's like, she's so attractive though. Why did I agree to that? I wonder if I still could. And it's like, didn't you know this girl when she was like 10? That's fucking weird, Jackie Chan. And then it just gets progressively worse. And it is so racist, so sexist, unbearable. Like, didn't finish it. It's really bad.
Oh, you didn't finish it?
No,
it was that bad?
It's really bad. Like, every 2 minutes does something like, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? It's just like him, I don't know. It's literally like him objectifying women the whole time. The movie treating women like they're morons, and like literally like they're a pair of boobs. Like there's a scene where a woman like trips because her boobs are too heavy and like falls over and goes like, ding! Like looks at the camera, it's like, bow! It's like, this is a joke? You know, like this is supposed to be funny? Like what is going on in China in 1993? Like
it sounds like a film that its humor has been greatly outdated.
Absolutely. And honestly, not okay then. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like surprised at,
but especially now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Just like, I don't know, just fucking weird, man. He's just like, it's like so pervy. And then there's this scene, I don't know, it's just like really racist. There's some brown face in it. Like, it's bad. It's really bad.
Oh, jeez.
There's a scene where they also, I shut it off and then I fast forwarded to the last action set piece because like, fuck it, I bought this thing. I might as well like at least skip ahead. And I stopped, and there's a scene where he's fighting this guy, and there's a Street Fighter mural in the background. And then all of a sudden, like, he spins around and becomes a character from Street Fighter. And then the other guy becomes a character from Street Fighter. And then it's like a side angle shot of Street Fighter, which is kind of fun. The way that they like do the same motion, and it's like sped up, and there's like animation, like hand drawn, like animated things of like them like blasting power or whatever at each other. But they're Street Fighter characters, and it's like, wait, what? You know what I mean? Like, what is going on here?
Random and weird.
It's literally like Jackie Chan shit in a bag and then like shook it up, and then it's like, here you go. Like, it's pretty rough. A lot of it's shit. It's like Jackie Chan.
What's the movie called?
City Hunter.
City Hunter.
It's like he swallowed a bag of pulverized diamonds that were so small they just get lost in all the garbage. Because every now and again, there's a good 3 seconds where I was like, wow, that was an amazing stylistic moment. But immediately followed by a very sexist, very gross joke, you know? To the point where it's unwatchable. Like, it's brutal.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's very brutal.
That's horrible. So I'll never watch that.
That was the one that I was talking about where I was like, all right, maybe I need to pump the brakes on buying so many movies. like I bought this movie and I literally took it out and immediately put it in the stack of movies I'm selling. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that's leaving, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Brutal.
City Hunter. Well, I watched a film on Netflix recently called Outlaw King.
Oh, okay, nice. That's like Viking. It's like a Viking thing.
No, not Vikings. More like medieval.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like a medieval combat movie, war movie. In the vein of Braveheart.
Okay.
So it actually, in history, quote unquote, it follows the story after Braveheart.
Oh, okay.
And
nice.
It even references back to William Wallace. And so it's like what happens after his story. And it's not like it's a direct sequel or anything, just based on history. And stars Chris Pine, and it's a very mediocre film.
Yeah.
It's I kind of expected more, or I don't know, I wanted more. I had heard some stuff about it. It had gone through the festival circuit. It got like a lukewarm reception there, but supposedly they made some edits that were supposed to.
I heard like pretty major edits. Like it was cut down like an hour almost, right?
It's much more bite-sized now. It's only 2 hours. 2 hours and 1 minute, technically. Okay. I think it was a little longer before, I was okay, nice, that's good. But it left out, I guess, a lot of key moments between Chris Pine and the love interest, who played by Rebecca Robin. She was in Lady Macbeth. She was really good in that. So basically, it ended up with them having just no connection there. They're just like, oh, you want to get married? We're married. Boom. You know. So that for character moments, that just there was nothing there. And as for battle scenes, there were some good fight scenes. There were some good clashing medieval fights, and it's been a while since we've seen something like that, right? It's been a while since I've seen like a medieval war movie. Like, oh shit, this is awesome. But that's about all you'll get out of this film. If you want to see some like longer, bloodier, more modern Game of Thrones style fights, watch this movie. But otherwise, that's about all you'll get out of it. That's all I got out of it. I ended up being pretty bored near the end. Even though it's cut down to 2 hours, I was still like, is this over yet? You know, it's just like, it ended up being just a string of battles connected to this mediocre storyline that was just,
Anytime I check my phone and then put it away, sometimes I don't catch myself, and sometimes I like put it away and like, oh yeah, not a good sign. You know what I mean? Like, like if I am actively like, all right, when's this thing over? You know. Because I like don't even think about it, but
no, I was looking at my phone near the end of the movie. I was like, yeah, okay. But if that sounds interesting to you, check it out. It's something even like cool to put on the background. I've been in like total medieval and Western mindset lately, and that sort of fit a little bit of a craving, but not much more than that. You do see Chris Pine's penis in it.
Ooh,
so
nice.
There's that.
What would you give his penis out of 5?
Well, 5 is going to be Michael Fassbender.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I mean, from
Great penis.
From
Penis,
shame. I mean,
yeah.
puts all penises to shame. It's insane.
And then what's one? Give me a one barometer.
I can't point one out in a film. You know, I don't memorize all the penises in films.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I do, but I'm just trying to find one that's a 1.
I feel like I've seen one probably. Maybe like one in Game of Thrones. You know,
yeah.
like a dirty small one in Game of Thrones.
All right, so just a general dirty small penis at 1. And
in Game of Thrones,
and then Michael Fassbender at 5. All right, so let's get to it. So how's his penis?
I don't know. It's the shot's not very pleasing. He comes out of a cold pond, so it probably wasn't very flattering for himself.
It's true.
I'd give it like 2.53.
Okay, so modest.
I mean, it's a little below average.
Okay, interesting.
It's a flash.
It's good. It's like
just
someone needs to cut that guy down a peg. You know what I mean? It's the worst when you see Michael Fassbender in Shame. It's like, great. He's a fucking hunk. He's an amazing actor. Yeah. He's in great movies. And he just has a giant penis. Like, fuck this guy.
He has a giant horse cock.
Yeah, like, fuck this guy.
That I will never have. No one will ever have. So, that's another one you can mark on your list.
All right, fair enough. I'll have to watch the movie, though, or maybe I'll just... Do you remember the precise runtime of that?
I believe it was 1 hour and 48 minutes.
All right, good to know. Ooh, close to the end. Nice.
I
really
may be completely off on that. don't count on that.
Fair enough.
I'm sort of just making that up.
I would love if I actually went to look at it and it was exactly an hour and 48 minutes. That would be amazing.
I'd be shocked. I'd be like, I don't know. What does this mean? What does this mean for me? That I memorized this.
I don't even remember looking at the runtime. How did I know?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But yeah, Outlaw King. That's on Netflix.
Nice.
Yeah. What else you got?
Oh yeah. I saw The Girl in the Spider's Web. The new dragon tattoo story or whatever they
a new dragon tattoo. You know, I was craving for some more of those dragon tattoo stories.
Yeah. A new piece in the anthology of the dragon tattoo. And you know what? It fucking sucks. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really want to see it, but there was like people recording in my house and it was like really loud. And I was like in my room upstairs and they were in the basement and I like had headphones on and I could like still hear it. And I was like, all right, going to see a movie. And I just like went, you know? And I was like, I never do this. I'm just going to go to the theater. And then I was like, fuck, why did I do this? I guess I'll see Girl in the Spider's Web.
No, but good for you.
Yeah. And yeah, it was not very good. Claire Foy was good in it. She was good, and I do like her as an actress. Couple cool shots. Did like that it had like an orchestral score. That was nice and surprising. I was expecting it to be even more like, you know, like, oh yeah, the opening, you know, the cover
like
or whatever.
More obnoxious.
Because like, I like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake, but like, holy shit, that opening credit sequence is just like, can I make a fan edit where I just cut that out and then like burn my own Blu-ray of this movie and I never have to watch that part again?
Yeah, it's a little off-putting.
It just makes no sense with the movie. It's just like,
it doesn't match the film at all. Yeah.
So I was expecting it to go more in that direction, and I don't necessarily think it did, which is good. But holy shit, the guy that they get to play Michael Blomkvist or whatever is just is terrible. Like he is terrible. It literally looks like his like girlfriend is off screen and he's gonna like laugh because he's like looking at her or something. You know what I mean? Or like his buddy's there and he's just like like he has this fucking stupid smirk on his face the whole time. He's terrible. It is like he doesn't do much in the movie either, so he kind of feels obligatory. But I also don't know if they just significantly cut his role down because he's so bad. Like, he's not good. It's very not good.
He's a Swedish actor named Severe Gunnarsson or something like that.
Well, I don't like him based on that performance.
Sounds good.
He also, like, while, okay, it doesn't really matter, who cares, looks absolutely nothing like Daniel Craig. And it does seem like they're trying to play this off like it's part of the same lineage. You know, yeah, it's not like a new take where everything's fresh. It's like very much an extension of the other one, you know? And it's just like, looks like Daniel Craig's nephew. You know what I mean? Like, did they literally call Daniel Craig's nephew? Like, it's... I don't know. It's fucking boring.
How was Sylvia Hoeks? She was in Blade Runner 2049.
I honestly can't remember. Oh yeah, she was all right. The movie's just not good, but like she was okay in it. She was pretty good.
So here is a lot like James Bond almost. It was like trying to be almost like James Bond-esque.
Yeah.
In its style and plot.
Mm-hmm. It's just I don't know. There was the one thing in the trailer that was intriguing was that like weird latex bag that they like suck the air out of. Where it's like, well, that seems terrifying. And it's like alluded to once and then used once to the extent that you see it in the trailer. And you go, oh yeah, all right. When's this over? Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, I waited an hour and 45 minutes to see that now. Okay, and it's over. You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing in it.
It's disappointing because it's from Fede Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's how you say his name. Which I liked. I liked his Evil Dead.
Yeah, I think the Evil Dead remake's good.
And Don't Breathe. I enjoyed it.
It's like worth a watch.
I thought it was
like, oh, okay, yeah. Interesting
like,
ideas at play, you know.
I'm curious why he felt like he, you know, wanted to do this film, you know?
Yeah, there's really just nothing to it. Like, there's a couple scenes that are shot in an interesting way, but pretty few and far between. It's kind of bland.
So the actual official title of this film, it actually is this: the Girl in the Spider's Web, a new dragon tattoo story. That is the official title of the film.
Honestly, we're gonna have to stop for a second. I just puked in my mouth a little bit, so whenever you get a drink of water or something. Fucking brutal, bud.
Official title.
Fucking brutal.
Yeah. All right. Well, another one I won't see. Yeah. Had a bad run here, bud.
I know. It's brutal, man.
Well, one I'll talk about next is saw this very recently. Another Netflix thing. Heard some good things about it, and I never would have seen it otherwise if I hadn't heard about it. But Adam Sandler's new stand-up is it's called 100% Fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't watched, to be honest with you, I stopped watching Adam Sandler stuff since like Grown Ups.
Yeah.
Like I don't watch any of his new films. I don't think they're good. Not worth my time, whatever. But this is a stand-up that was actually very honest.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about his past, kind of confronts all that stuff in a very hilarious way. You know, like it was genuinely hilarious stand-up.
Nice.
And what's really interesting about it too is really, really well edited. It's like there's a lot of really good editing throughout the whole piece because it's his whole act,
mm-hmm.
but it's done in many different venues, from small little venues with just like maybe 30, 40 people to stadium-sized venues.
Interesting.
And it's the same bits.
Yeah.
And it's cutting between them during the bit even. And,
that's crazy.
During the bit, it will cut between them. And it'll be like even like a smash cut. He'll like clap his hand like whoosh, and it'll like cut to another venue.
Mm.
And that was really cool and interesting. What also is interesting about that is, okay, so you would think they're showing all the best stuff in those places. Not true. There's a couple times where the jokes fall flat, or they're not working, or he messes up, and it shows you all the warts and all. Like, you see,
that's cool. Yeah,
stand up.
It seems like if you were to cross-cut these performances, it could expose how just exactly the same his performances are. But it's interesting that it's not that.
Yeah, you would think naturally they'd make them look the best that they could.
Yeah.
But it's really just it finds the honest moments in all those. It cuts between them. Obviously, some high moments are better in other venues or whatever, but I don't know. I thought it was really cool that they did that. And what really made the whole thing is at the end, he plays a song, and I had no idea how good he was at guitar. He can freaking rock on the guitar. And he plays a song that's, I won't ruin it for you, but there's like a tribute to someone. And it's really good. And then at the end, he does another song that really just puts the nail in the coffin, about a song that he like sings to his wife. And it's very sweet. And after all this hilarious, stupid Adam Sandler humor, you get this like really nice grown-up moment. Like, he's old now. And it also pays tribute to you watching. You've watched all his movies. There's like a little tribute video kind of paying homage to all his films and his roles. And I don't know, it feels like the culmination of his career almost.
Interesting. All right.
And it's sort of like, if that's all he did from now on, that was the last thing, I'd be fine with that. But satisfied. It's sort of like, oh yeah, Adam Sandler was once an icon. You know? Like, totally. He was someone that was in the 90s, early 2000s. That was like, he was a huge star. And it's just sort of interesting to kind of remember that and see where he's at now. But I know it's worth watching. It's not that long. It's on Netflix. And I'm a big fan of stand-up, so I find any kind of unique stand-up, it's worth watching. So,
oh yeah,
check it out.
Nice.
It's called 100% Fresh. Yeah.
Hell yeah. My last thing, just keep striking out, man. This one I should have known better though. Was looking at the Amazon Prime, going to bed. Just like, let's throw something on. I like when I go to bed to throw on like shitty old horror movies. I feel like that's my like junk food TV. Is I like to watch like old, 70s, 80s garbage. And I watched. I threw on Luther the Geek, which I know was a Vinegar Syndrome title that I've seen around and I hadn't picked up, which is a very good thing because it just fucking blows and it sucks. And everyone talks about it like it's some like horror classic. And I was like, I should probably see this if I, and it's like, no, I shouldn't. And probably no one should. It's just, it's worthless. There's nothing about it that's interesting.
No.
It's
what's this called again?
Luther the Geek.
Luther the Geek.
It's like a guy that gets traumatized by seeing a circus performer bite the head off a chicken. So he like files, he like is a crazy psychopath and like files teeth, and his thing is that he like bites people's necks and let them bleed out, and it's like, ugh, okay, all right, whatever. And
super violent.
Yeah, it takes place in like, it's basically he gets out of prison and immediately goes to someone's house and invades it and just like murders everyone. And I just don't understand why you would enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's like, if you like to see people get ruthlessly murdered, then I guess you'll like it. But it's just like horror movies, there's suspense and you go, okay, like, are they gonna get away? Or, you don't know what's gonna happen. There's a supernatural angle, there's an interesting character, there's usually some sort of ingredient that makes them interesting. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this, it's like, if he clucks like a chicken, the movie will be interesting. And it's like, no. You know what I mean? It reminded me a lot of, I don't know if I talked about it on the cast. I think I might have. That movie Angst, the German movie about a serial killer. And
yeah, you might have.
My friend had recommended it to me, and it was like a well done movie, but just it puts you in the mindset of a serial killer and on a rampage, murdering and torturing this house of people, and it's not fun to watch, and it's terrible, but it makes you think about what the people are thinking about and how, like, this is a crazy mental disease. You know what I mean? There are things to it that the movie is made for a point. You know what I mean? They are illustrating ideas. While I did not enjoy watching that movie, I understand why it was made, and people do like it, you know? But this is like that movie without anything. It's just a guy clucking like a chicken murdering people, and it's just scary. Just like tying a woman down on a bed and being like, I'm going to murder you, and just leaving her there, running around biting people's necks. And it's not even that it's necessarily like graphic. It's just disturbing. It's like, I don't need to see like a weird observational account of a guy just like hiding in closets and jumping out and ruthlessly murdering people. I don't need to see it. You know what I mean? Not something I need to watch.
Nothing else to it.
Yeah.
Right? There's no message, right?
There's no message, and it's also not fun. And I'm not saying it's fun to watch people die, but slasher movies sometimes are fun. You know what I mean?
They can be fun. Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, he just like murders someone for no reason at a grocery store and then hides in a car that's unlocked and then just goes home with this random woman who's just like a normal woman. And then it's just like in her house, and it's just like, well, that's terrifying. You know what I mean? And I guess if it's scary and disturbing, but there's no other angle to that. It's like, it's scary and disturbing for what reason? To let you know that there's scary and disturbing things out there. It's not thought-provoking, and there's nothing to it. Clearly made by someone who didn't care about anything. Took all the wrong cues from other horror. It's a piece of shit.
All right. Luther the Geek. Won't watch that one either.
Stay away!
All right. Well, we got to move on to our main reviews.
I will say very quickly, I did rewatch No Country for Old Men. Movie's incredible. That was a nice little lift up. I didn't watch only garbage.
It's a fucking fantastic movie. And I will also throw in, I rewatched Saving Private Ryan. Great film.
Yeah.
Great film.
Oh, you didn't talk about that transfer, bud.
We don't have time to talk about it, but I'm just gonna say, like, looks fantastic. The sound was amazing. It's a great war movie. That's, I think, honestly, probably one of the best war movies ever made. Mm-hmm. It's the best.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
It's so good. But all right, let's move on. We're gonna go into our non-spoiler review for Widows, starting right now.
You have no idea, do you? Or did you choose not to know? Your husband stole $2 million from me. This is about my life. This is about my life. And because it's about my life, it now becomes about yours.
Your family's been involved in Harry's life for many years. I need help.
I don't see what I can do.
Our husbands aren't coming back. We're on our own.
That was from the trailer of the new Steve McQueen film, Widows. Set in contemporary Chicago amid a time of turmoil, 4 women with nothing in common except a debt left behind by their dead husbands' criminal activities take fate into their own hands and conspire to forge a future of their own terms. This was directed by Steve McQueen, written by Gillian Flynn and Steve McQueen, starring a huge cast of people.
Yeah, insane cast in this movie.
What'd you think of the film, Zach?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It seems like something that's just designed to be entertaining, which is always appreciated. I don't know how much it did outside from that. I think there are a few things that were really interesting about it, but other than that, it felt like just a very well executed thriller, that is also good because, there's a lot of representation and exposure to certain things that is good for a movie of this size. But yeah, it's just super entertaining and well done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just thought it was a very good crime thriller.
Yeah.
That it brought attention to some contemporary problems, and issues. Also brought some representation. Cool to see these kick-ass women do a heist, and try and pull off a heist, and
but also good that they weren't that it wasn't a team of criminal women pull off a heist. They're very normal people that are thrust into the situation, which is way more interesting than just a female heist. It's more than that, essentially. You know what I mean?
But even though this seems to be quote unquote kind of lower fare than Steve McQueen typically does, I like that he's doing something different.
Yeah.
And I think this film, within any other director's hands, would have been something completely different.
Absolutely.
It would have been probably shallower, probably would have not been as ambitious, especially with its cinematography. I thought it was great.
Looks great.
I love his shots, and
also loved the Chicago angle. There's a lot of Chicago, the bowling alley is right by my house.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've been there a lot. You know what I mean? So and the theater we saw it at, it's
awesome.
2 minutes away. So she pulls out the matchbook, and everyone just chuckled. It's it's right. I'm gonna drive past it when I leave.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
And then there's another shot when she's on a street corner near the end, and Sean's place is off frame, basically.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
it's always fun. It's not for it.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see those little nuggets in your
Oh,
city.
for sure. Yeah, and back to the cast. The cast is insane.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the cast. Viola Davis is always just fantastic. And I thought all the main core group of women were pretty good too.
Yeah, they were all great.
Kind of an eclectic group of people who normally wouldn't be friends or be together at all.
Yeah.
Sort of tried to make it work for this job, and I like that a lot.
I will say, or what were we gonna?
Go ahead.
That
No, go for it.
I didn't think he was bad, but I wasn't I didn't love Colin Farrell in the movie, but I didn't know. It's a weird line because he's playing this politician who's coming off as fake, but then it informs his performance. But it's is that the goal of the performance? Does that make sense?
No, totally. And it doesn't help that he was really bad at doing his accent. I don't think his accent was very great.
Wasn't great. Didn't love it.
He was trying to do this what was he trying to do? It was
I guess a Chicago accent, but
I don't know. It was pretty bad.
It was oh no, okay. Well.
His Irish was coming through.
Yeah. I will say
a
weird performance in it that I actually loved was Robert Duvall.
Oh yeah,
he's obviously great, but that one scene where he's freaking out, he's just "You piece of fucking shit!" It's such an old man. Fuck you, you're fucking shit.
Yeah, no, he was awesome.
So reserved but animated at the same time. I don't know what that is. It's really weird. It's great.
It's
though.
Robert Duvall, and it was a really small part. It was awesome.
Yeah, totally. It's great. Really enjoyed him just cussing him out.
Yeah, and I love the cast, the very beginning scene no spoilers, but I mean, it's the beginning scene. There's an action sequence showing all like the husbands.
Yeah.
And that's a great cast alone.
Yeah, totally.
You know, that's a great cast alone. You could have like an action movie just on those guys. Liam Neeson, you know, it's like, it's crazy.
It's insane.
So lots of talent all around.
I did also think that opening scene was edited in a really cool way. There's a lot of cool editing in the movie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's very neat how it cross-cut sort of like violence with like this romantic moment that happens.
Yeah, that was cool.
It definitely brought me into the movie right away.
Yeah, definitely. I think the coolest or my biggest takeaway, the thing I remember the most, I guess, was the scene where he is like giving the talk or like the rally where I think it's the same scene where he brings the women up to show that they're like, you know, female business owners, like that he's funding their businesses to like revitalize these like areas, you know, bring economic opportunity. And I'm pretty sure it seems to me from watching it that it's this area like Oak Park in Chicago where there's like a very obvious line where it changes. And they do that shot where he gets in and it pans into the car and then it pans across and it's real time. You see him drive from this depressed area like up to a mansion. You know what I mean? And it's within like 2 minutes. And that's a very real thing in Chicago that I really liked seeing executed that way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's not, I don't think it's a spoiler, but yeah, it's like, that was probably one of my favorite shots in the film.
Yeah.
Where you sort of, I guess, since you already talked about it, it's like a long one take. You think like, okay, what's happening here? I don't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's just like
what's going on, and then they finally get to their destination. You're like, oh man, you're like, it says so much without doing really anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was very interesting. To wrap up non-spoilers, I think there are some plot points that I think are not quite clear. I think I have some, I don't know, I guess some issues with some of the plot points. I don't think that it's perfectly executed. I think it waves its hands at convenience a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's where the main issue lies. It's sort of just tries to ignore some of these other things, you know.
What's specifically?
Well, I can't really get into it too much without spoiling, honestly. But yeah,
there's not a lot else I feel like for me to talk about non-spoiler. If you want to just move on to spoiler.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that was pretty much my last thought. Mm-hmm. It's just I had some issues with that, but otherwise, I thought it was just like a fun film, like a fun action thriller, crime thriller.
Yeah, just like a well executed version of that movie that it doesn't do a ton new in the sense of the narrative, but I don't think it necessarily needs to. It's just like really is what it is, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, I guess we'll go into the spoilers for Widows.
Do it.
Starting right now.
My husband left me the plans for his next job. All I need is a crew to pull it off.
Why should we trust you anyway?
Because I'm the only one standing between you and a bullet in your head.
That's what I've learned from men like your late husband and my father, is that you reap what you sow.
Let's hope so. This is for guns.
Guns? From where?
Figure it out.
If this whole thing goes wrong, I want my kids to know that I didn't just sit there and take it. I did something.
the best thing we have going for us is being who we are.
Why?
Because no one thinks we have the balls to pull this off.
Yeah, so just like a few minor things that I was just like, okay. Like on my way home, driving after the movie, I was like, oh, this doesn't add up. This doesn't add up. That's weird. Huh. Sort of like one of the main things is like, why would Liam Neeson sort of just leave this like notebook of his next plan out for her to find if he was like trying to do it anyway? You know what I mean?
Well, wasn't that intentional? Because he told her to go get the book. So I think he was planning on her doing it so he could come and take the money.
Yeah.
That's where it gets like very thriller movie-ish. That whole aspect of him still being alive. Whereas before it feels like a more grounded version of that. That's when it like becomes the sort of like, not necessarily soap opera because it's better than that, but like that sort of, you know what I'm trying to say. More. I
mean, when the reveal was like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think I even said it out loud. I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the entertaining aspect of the movie is having those twists and turns and the crowd. I should have said this earlier, but the crowd was like really into the movie too.
Yeah, my theater as well.
And all those beats, the crowd was like just loving it.
Yeah, when it showed the flask on the table, everyone ooh, like the whole the whole theater like like
one of the highlight of the movie was from an audience member next to me. Was when Viola Davis like fired back at Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Or she fell to the floor and then she got up to like go face him. She like stands up and the woman, there's like an older woman next to me. She goes, "Get up, girl." Like rooting her up.
Amazing.
I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's so good.
She was like so into. She's like, "Get up, girl." Saying it to Viola Davis, it was amazing.
That's really good.
Yeah, it was a packed theater, so that was a really fun part of it too. Yeah, what else? I don't know what else. What's some other spoiler things? You know. You haven't said much on spoiler thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm even though I saw this movie after Buster Scruggs, I'm like having trouble like thinking of the like points I wanted to bring up.
It has also been. We saw this like both like a week or so ago.
It's been a busy week
before
too.
Thanksgiving.
A
lot going on, but I thought was really cool too. Well, let me start off by saying I thought it would have been more enjoyable to have the heist play out longer. I sort of after all this build up, I wanted like a longer heist. Mm-hmm. But that being said, the things that happen within the heist are really cool.
Yeah.
Like the little voice modulator things. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's cool. That's a nice touch. You can't tell that there are these women that are pulling off this bank robbery, which is what they talk about earlier. You know, they say, "Oh, well, if these were men, we're us being women, they're not going to suspect us as much as like if we were men." You know, and so they use that to kind of conceal their identity and. That was fun. Having the password like upside down was very much like almost like an Ocean's 11 moment.
That was a cool moment.
Yeah, like an Ocean's 11. There's some little flares in there as well.
I guess I do think that there wasn't as much, and I don't necessarily think it's a problem with the movie, but there wasn't a ton of like heist planning. Which it's not like I need to see them, like, sitting in a car following everyone. Like, I don't need, like, a montage or anything. But it seemed like there were really only a few tasks. Like, she gave everyone, like, a task and then was like, all right, like, let's train. And then they, like, snooped around You know what I mean? There wasn't like, and I guess that could also be because it was laid out in the book, could be why. But it didn't seem like there was like a ton of heist specific prep. There was more like them pumping themselves up to do something like this, but not like this specific job.
Well, that's another thing I mean too about just like the plot. It just seemed very convenient.
Yeah, definitely.
For like okay, there's a notebook, so we don't have to explain all this. You know, like I don't know. There's a lot of just like it's fine, like waving it along. It's fine, which yeah, that is fine, I guess for this type of movie. Yeah. But I don't know. I would have liked to see more of those details. I would have liked to see more of the planning and just like. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was very hard to do at all. But I will say there was one detail that this film did that I really, really liked, which was the money. Like, how much does money weigh?
Yeah, totally.
And like putting the money, like that was cool. That was like, oh, they like had to like weigh out the money and like, all right, do that back and forth. That's how much you're going to be carrying. That's $3 million or whatever it is.
Viola Davis,
that was really cool.
She must have had a big Costco run to get all that Pyrex to put that dirt in. It's a lot of Tupperware containers.
That's a lot of really nice Tupperware.
Yeah, they're the Pyrex ones with the clasps.
Oh, pretty good. Wash it out, reuse them. You know,
she's gonna have a lot of leftovers, and they're gonna be great.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Yeah. I really don't know what else. I can't really remember the score. I'm trying to recall the score. I remember it being good, but not like...
I don't remember anything specific about it.
Yeah, seemingly pretty supportive of the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but I do think it plays as just a very well executed version of like this type of movie. And there's a spin on it, but it's still very much like a heist thriller, but just executed very well. Like you were saying, it's like in the hands of a different director, the same script could have been, not nearly as good. It's just very entertaining, and it seems designed to be as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, what would you rate it?
Probably give it like a 4 or 5.
Wow, 4.5.
Light 4 or 5, but I don't know. Like I really didn't have that many complaints with it. I like in
you just had a great time with it?
Yeah, in terms of its goal, it executed its goal extremely well. Like I don't think it has the lasting power of some of the other movies I've seen this year, but as like I don't know. I think it set out all it accomplished to,
Fair enough. I give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like I just thought it was like a really solid like crime thriller that was entertaining. I probably won't watch it again. I don't know.
I probably won't either, but
I don't know. I didn't leave the theater like, yeah, like, oh, that was awesome. I sort of walked away. It was like, oh, that and that. Huh. So that's the only thing, but 3.5 still very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I recommend watching it. It's highly entertaining. I was very entertained during the film, so that's enough for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that concludes our review of Widows. Before we get into our second review, Zach, you want to just bring up that deal again real quick? You know what? I'll repeat what you said. Right? For the listeners of our podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. You can download your free audiobook today. Go to audibletrial.com/LTURAM. Again, that's audibletrial.com/LTURAM for your free audiobook. It's pretty good stuff.
Hell yeah, man. Free? Free?
I I don't think anyone has fucking used this deal. And honestly, if you're listening past up to this point, I love you. Let's get into our non-spoiler review of Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
People are so easily distracted. So I'm the distractor with a little story. People can't get enough of them because, well, they connect the stories to themselves, I suppose. And we all love hearing about ourselves. So long as the people in the stories are us, but not us.
This'll tell the tale.
I'm Buster Scruggs.
Your shooting iron work.
Appears to do, yes.
Do you have anything to say before the sentence is carried out?
Sentence? What's my sentence?
So that was from the trailer of The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, an anthology film comprised of 6 stories, each dealing with a different aspect of life in the Old West. Directed by Ethan Coen, Joel Coen, written by both the Coens. And it stars, again, a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of the movie, Zach?
I really enjoyed it. I definitely think some parts are better than others, but overall, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I liked it,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it, but it didn't feel like up to par for other Coen films for me. I don't know. I guess I expected a little bit more from it. That being said, there are parts that I really liked about it.
Yeah.
And there are parts that I just sort of thought were meh.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they were bad, just meh. So that kind of blend left me with a less than great feeling about it. I thought the first story was great. It was probably my favorite.
It's fucking hysterical.
It's hilarious.
But I do think
where that going
it
on.
sets you up for a different movie than you're getting for the rest of it. Like there's definitely humor in the rest of it, but to come off that, and then there's the James Franco one, which feels a little silly as well. And then from then on, there's silliness here and there, but I do. It's just the first one's so zany that it never reaches that height again, you know. And I was like, wow, this is way sillier than I thought. Sweet, you know, but like it's not like that.
Yeah, I thought it was almost a highlight because it was so bizarre and over the top that I was like, at first I was off put by it. I was like, what is happening right now? And then it like where it goes near the end of that story, like I was like, oh, this is great, you know, like I want to see more of this. And it just never gets to that point again. I think I don't know how much we could I don't know how much we could spoil in this, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, like, yeah, how do you want to go? I guess we could go through it like bit by bit, or we could just do general non-spoiler and then general spoiler. But we could just go like this segment.
Well, I feel like we can't talk about each segment without spoiling it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like you kind of gotta.
Well, maybe we'll just wrap up our general thoughts right here.
Yeah, I'd say that one of them is like one of my favorite things I've seen all year, and that which I think you can probably guess. I'm very biased.
I know.
I
exactly
love Tom
Waits.
It's fucking amazing. That's the best part of the whole movie. Honestly, 6 out of 5 that segment.
Well, that was the one I was talking about too. Like that was those two. The first one and his are like my favorite.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
I did think that not to knock Carter Burwell because he's done a lot of good work, but it's seemingly like you know what you're getting. You know what I mean? Like the Hail Caesar score is good, but it's very much in line with what I would expect, you know? And not that this isn't, but I liked the sort of the lightness to it. I feel like the Coen brothers always have like a weird, like ominous vibe that the score follows, you know? But I really liked especially the score during the like Oregon Trail segment. I liked a lot. I thought the score was very good.
Nice. I can't honestly give any opinion on that because I don't really remember the score too much other than, I guess I wasn't paying too much to it. Didn't stand out to me. But, overall, I think, again, there are segments stronger than others. Overall, it doesn't feel like after waiting so long for another Coen Brothers film, like this one was quite up to worth waiting for. I don't know. There are moments that are great and there are moments that are just fine. And I was also kind of near the end a little bored, and I hate to say that. And that makes me feel very disappointed that I feel this way about something from these directors, but
interesting.
It is what it is. So let's get into spoilers so we can talk a little bit more about each of the stories.
Let's do it.
All right, spoilers starting right now.
Things have a way of escalating out here in the West.
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings.
That man is a wonder. Oh, we'll just have to see, won't we?
Crazy business.
First time.
Let's start again from the top. Let's talk about each of the stories. So I thought it was I just loved how over the top it was, and then him like flying off into like the sky with the wings and everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. And him doing a duet as a ghost with the guy who killed him is amazing. So good.
Yeah, that part's great.
Yeah. And honestly,
it's the strongest part of the film.
The gag where he kicks the table and the guy shoots himself in the face, I exploded. I just like exploded laughing. Because I saw did you see it in the theater or did you watch it on Netflix?
I watched it on Netflix. I know it was in some theaters, but it wasn't playing here.
Yeah, I was actually in St. Louis for a shoot, and it happened to be playing, and we didn't have anything to do, so we're like, fuck yeah, let's go see it.
Oh, nice. That's probably a better experience.
Yeah, I'll say I 100% fell asleep during it, because
oh my God.
I had a 12-hour shoot day, and then we went from that to driving an hour to St. Louis downtown, and then I drank and ate like the most barbecue I've ever eaten in my life, and then saw like a 9:40 screening of this movie. So like,
why do you do this to yourself?
Recipe for a nap right there. But and I will say when I watched it, rewatched the last segment, it definitely looked more digital, and I don't know if that's some algorithm with Netflix or like my TV compensating with some bullshit auto motion hertz bullshit.
It for sure looked very digital.
But I would say that it looked digital, but not nearly as much when presented in a theater. Like, and maybe that's just the guise of me being in a theater and it feels different, and it's not actually about that, but I thought it looked good. But anyway, that was a tangent. We're supposed to be talking about the first segment.
That was like full Western. You had the shoot off guy.
Yep.
I like the casting for him was great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it felt very much Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yep.
Thou a little bit, and I wanted the whole film to be that outrageous.
Yeah, and just I loved how much it was like buttoning up the Old West like it was like a old cute thing, but he's just like a fucking psychopath who like murders a ton of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like so.
Like he's like this innocent little guy, but he's like this, this actual psychopath.
It's so good. The first one's incredible.
Yeah, I honestly want to rewatch that part.
Yeah, that duet, I was laughing so much during that. And then I would say the second one is the weakest one of the whole movie, personally.
That's the one with James Franco,
yeah.
right? Okay. Yeah, that one was pretty weak. Not much anything like memorable.
It wasn't
about that
long
one,
enough
really.
to portray the idea that they were trying to do. Like the idea of a cowboy repeatedly like lucking his way out of getting hung is like a funny idea, but it
Right.
felt like cut down because he's like being hung, and then it's like he's like, oh, your first time. It's like your first time was like 2 hours ago, bud. You know what I mean? Like the joke doesn't really play.
Right.
Like maybe if this was like a legend who this has happened like 20 times or even just like 5, you know, it just, there was like a disconnect. And it was also short. I do think the 3 shotgun gag is really funny when he jumps up and there's 3 shotguns under the counter.
Yeah.
Like I like that.
Yeah.
But
Yep, that was good.
James Franco was a little miscast, I thought, and the story just didn't come together for that one really.
Yeah. Agreed. What was the 4th segment?
The 3rd?
The 4th. Or the 3rd, yeah.
The 3rd was the Liam Neeson one.
Okay, yeah. I think that one dragged on too long.
It was long, but
that one
I feel like
that one dragged on a little too long.
I feel like it also maybe it shouldn't have been the 3rd one is what I would say for me, cuz I think the pacing made sense for the story because it's like this repetition and like, oh shit, we're out here, you know. So like,
yeah, no, for sure.
I feel like viewing it on its own, it would be paced appropriately, but like first one's real snappy, funny. Second one, very short. Third one of the longer ones and way more serious than the previous 2. So it was like a very much a tonal shift that I think maybe if they had placed it later, it could have played a little better.
Yeah. Or even earlier. Start slow.
Yeah.
And then
or like, sprinkle the James Franco one in like after the Tom Waits one and move that up. You know what I mean? Because it sets a precedent for how long you're expecting these to be. Because the first one's pretty short, and the second one's even shorter.
It's very short.
And then that one's one of the longest ones, also way more serious, also way stylistically different. And that switch is interesting, but it's like, okay, how long are these shorts? Like how long? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, it is cool how each one has a different style too.
Yeah,
that's really cool about it.
Totally,
really cool.
The editing in the Liam Neeson one, I really enjoyed. The like skipping over and the repetition of the lines. Very sad.
That was good. Yeah, very sad.
Coen's too. That ending with the chicken was so Coen brothers.
So Coen.
Yeah.
Oh, so Coen. Yeah. All right, so what was the 4th one?
4th one was, I think that was the Tom Waits one.
Okay, that was Tom Waits.
And that thing's just a fucking banger, dude.
that was my second favorite one.
Yeah.
Probably that was your favorite one?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm just a fucking sucker.
Yeah. It was just great seeing him play out this role.
I was like, ooh, I hope this is the Tom Waits one, and then it like cut to a wide and it's like, just from the trees, and I was like, yes, like, yeah,
that's
know,
him.
like, and just him lying there, and you think he's dead, but he just like gets up, he's like perfectly still, he like fights the guy, and I also died laughing when he was screaming, it didn't hit anything important. It's like, didn't hit nothing important. He's just like staying there bleeding.
Yeah. He's like, didn't hit anything important. He's like going around his body.
This is amazing. So good. And how like cutesy storybook, like all the minnows scurrying away and the butterflies like ooh, and all the animals leave and then he enters and then at the end literally the minnows go huh? And they just like swim back to the exact same spot that they were in and the butterflies come back. Like very good.
They all come back.
Yeah.
The deer comes back.
Mm-hmm. And I also enjoyed the landscape of that one because it's not really a landscape that you see in a lot of westerns, but would very much be part of real life in that era. You know,
well, it was very much that like California, Northern California, where the gold was. You know, just like a Northern California vibe, and that it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but I don't really see that sort of like terrain presented that much in westerns. You know?
Yeah, I like the stream. I just want to like swim in that stream.
I know, right? It's a good looking stream.
It's just like the clearest water. I just want to drink it. You know?
I know. Give me a glass of that.
It was beautiful.
How much do you think they charge for that in a movie theater? More or less? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed him counting the pieces. That was good too. Be like, lift it up and be like, 7. Put it down. Oh, 3 going down. 10. All right. You know.
He looks so old in it.
So old. It's making me nervous. It's like, release all those records you got made, dude. Apparently he has a bunch of music made that's just sitting there. Give it to me personally. I want it. Let's meet up and you can hand me the pressed vinyl that you made specifically for me.
Can you imagine if Tom Waits himself handed you a personally pressed vinyl?
Honestly,
of unreleased music?
I can't imagine because I'd be dead if that happened. I'd just fucking die immediately. It'd be like those, you know, those like those little toys that they stand on the base and you push the bottom and they're like filled with strings and they collapse and then you pull it and then they go back up. That's me. Tom Waits hands me the record. Body falls apart.
Amazing.
All right. So then
so next part.
Shit, what is the next
Tom Waits one?
Because the Tom Waits one, so there's Buster Scruggs, there's James Franco, Liam Neeson, Tom Waits, Oregon Trail, the one with Zoe Kazan.
Yeah, that was the last one, right?
No, that's the second to last one. Last one's in the Stagecoach.
Okay, so the fifth one, we're on the wagon trail.
Yeah.
It was the one with Zoe Kazan. That one was all right.
I liked it. I thought it was interesting. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Well, completely lost my thought there. Just flew away.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was fine. At this point, they started to deteriorate for me. I think they got worse as it went on.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I liked the concept of the guy doing the shootout and them like turning and coming back. That scene was cool. The end, once again, very dark. Very much a Coen Brothers end to that, where she kills herself because she thinks he's dead.
Yep.
But yeah, it was good. Not the best, but interesting. It's an interesting thing to make a story about, but I think things have done it better. You know what I mean? And not to say everything's like immediately comparable to everything else, but like I feel like a lot of these stories felt unique and like it was drawing on inspiration from other things, but was very much them. And I felt the last two were the least their voice.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed. It had their vibe, but it didn't
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sort of missing
and
something.
I felt like that maybe the idea for the Oregon Trail one could have flourished more if it was longer. Like if it was just its own movie. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
because I liked all of it and it was interesting, but it was also the longest and felt like the longest.
Yeah,
because it was like very long. Over 30 minutes. I think that one was.
Yeah, it was long. Mm-hmm. It was really long. Whole part with the dog, that was upsetting.
Yeah,
I don't know,
but
don't like dogs dying.
But it doesn't, right?
But it's right. It actually didn't die.
And then it's actually really funny when she's just sitting there watching the prairie dogs go up and down. That was a good moment where she's just like, "Where is she?" And she's like rode off and she's laughing at a bunch of prairie dogs. Like, I liked that beat. That was fun. But yeah, it's hard to measure up when you just fucking played me that Tom Waits one. You know what I mean?
I know.
Hard to measure up.
And Zoe Kazan was fine.
Yeah, she's good.
I don't think she. Yeah, she's good. Normally good. I don't know. She seemed fine in this role. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It didn't do anything special for me. All right, the final one. I honestly can say this is. I don't remember. This is the least one I remember, even though it's the end.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same. I mean, it's the same setting.
I was losing my. Yeah, I was losing my concentration at this point. I think.
Sleepy, getting snoozy.
I was getting sleepy. I was sort of getting distracted.
Yeah.
I was like.
I thought visually it was cool in the way that they transitioned the lighting. Throughout it, and it got darker, and then I like that.
The lighting looked nice. I do remember that.
The performance of the goofy guy in it, I really liked. Very Coen Brothers, the dialogue. Just also felt though the least, the most obvious short out of them. You know what I mean? The whole them going to undescribed place, entering this strange, surreal building, you know what I mean? Going kind of for the afterlife vibe, it seemed like. And it felt the most expected, in a sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Not that I would expect it to be in the movie, but I figured that was where it was going with it. Whereas I liked some of them just being like the fact that the Tom Waits one is just a story of a guy who's a prospector. And it's not anything particularly special. It's just in my day, I just sifted gold in a river, and then a guy shot me for the gold, and then I fucking got him back, and then I got out of there with the gold. You know what I mean? It's more of a glimpse into that through a funny lens, where this felt like a dressed up sort of here's a little piece that we made. You know what I mean? It felt more constructed, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly, for some reason, can't even remember anything about it other than the lighting.
Fair enough. It's got Brendan Gleeson. He was not in it very much. It's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not my favorite.
So, in the end, overall, I guess I felt a little disappointed by the film. But, it started so strong. Then it kind of had that bump with Tom Waits. And then it just, died for me. And, I don't know.
See,
I'll probably watch it again some point.
I'll say that my rewatch, I didn't rewatch all of them. But I rewatched the last two because I was a little snoozy. And then I was like, I got to see that Tom Waits one again. So then I went back and watched the Tom Waits one. And then I was like, that opening's so good. I can watch the opening. You know what I mean? So, I essentially watched almost the whole movie again. And I do think a big part of my initial reaction was the expectation for me. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but, I think I was...
It was for me, too.
I was hindered by the expectation that I knew nothing about this movie, and, this is going to be really funny. You know what I mean? And then it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that. And
right.
I think knowing that and reflecting on it more, it's gone up for me thinking about it. But if I if I hadn't revisited it, I don't think it would have. You know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Now that I kind of know the expectations, maybe I'll enjoy it more. But yeah, knowing it's Coen Brothers, knowing it was like a Western comedy, I was like really stoked, and then it just like didn't turn out to be what I wanted or what I expected. So yeah.
So what are you giving it?
I think I'd have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. That was pretty much it. I'm giving it a 3.5 for now.
For sure.
I'm leaning towards 4. If I like it a little bit more, I might go towards that. But it's just, yeah, I was a little disappointed. Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
I don't know what to give it. I'm pretty conflicted because the Tom Waits segment and the first segment are like some of my favorite things I've seen all year. But then like the James Franco segment does nothing for me. You know what I mean?
See, it kind of has to balance out in some way, right? Like I love the first segment and the Tom Waits one, but that's not the whole movie.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know, man. Can I give it a 4.25?
Sure.
I'll just give it a light 4.5. I'll err on the side of being a friendly boy.
Okay.
Cause on like the Tom Waits bit is like my favorite thing I've seen all year. You know what I mean? Like it's
that's
so good.
That's so you. That's so
yeah. It's like it's double parked to my alley and it's not moving. The car's not moving. Hazards are on. Like it's there all night.
Yeah, I mean it's a priority, right? It's
and I did really enjoy the Oregon one. I liked the last one, wasn't crazy about it, and I did really enjoy the Liam Neeson one. But it does seem like maybe some sort of shifting or re-edit of some of the aspects could have enhanced it. We didn't talk about the book. I liked the book thing with like the wax paper in front of the pages. I like that. That was fun.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing. I really liked that.
Yeah, I like that.
I thought that was really cool.
And I liked how at the end,
that was really cool.
You could like read the last paragraph of like, you know, and it's not exactly what happened, but it correlates and pulls out and then pushes in. And, like,
I will say that's one of my favorite parts of the film.
Yeah,
is that flipping through the chapters and showing the art, and yeah, that was really cool. I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
I'd also say that, it's pretty much ideal for them to do this for Netflix. You know, like this feels...
Yeah.
It feels...
It's like a Netflix contribution.
Like a idea that they catered towards this. Which I don't think is necessarily a negative. But it, I think this would have been a lot more disappointing if this was like their next theatrical release. Be like, but I think
but isn't it?
I mean,
when are we
it
gonna
is
see another film by them.
Yeah,
it is.
But I'm saying they're catering the content towards the deliverable. Like I saw it in a theater, but 90% of the people who watch it will not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it does feel very much like catered towards the deliverable of what it is, if that makes sense.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it is. It totally is.
Mm.
They had to deal with Netflix. They made this film for Netflix.
Yeah. Like if Hail Caesar was produced by Netflix, it would be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that movie's really good.
Yeah, but who knows what it would be under the constraints of working with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you. It's just, I also don't want this to be like I don't want to wait another, like, however many years for another Coen's thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because
I don't want to wait another 3-4 years for Coen. Like, this is all I get? I don't know. It's a little disappointing.
Yeah, when did Hail Caesar come out? It was a little while ago.
Yeah, that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
2016.
Yeah. So 2, technically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're the fucking best. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. And then you just recently rewatched No Country for Old Men.
Oh my god, that movie is unbelievable.
It's a really good movie.
It's honestly too good. And I knew it.
2007.
I knew it was too good. And I hadn't watched it maybe since it came out on DVD. Cuz I don't own it on Blu-ray, but my roommate does.
Really?
Yeah. So it is long overdue rewatch.
Long overdue.
Fuck, that movie is fucking good. Like, and
it's incredible.
And the thing is, I was like, oh, about to watch this. It's amazing. Like, I knew it, but it seriously
amazing,
felt like it was 20 minutes long. You know, like it starts and it's like, this thing's already over. You know, but like,
I know.
How do you get a movie with no music that's that slow paced to just absolutely fly by? I have no idea.
Talk about a fucking 5-banger film right
That's
there.
That's a fucking 5-banger for sure.
The max a 5-banger star right there. That is such a good movie.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And 2007 was a great year. You had that going against There Will Be Blood, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Both I noted Paramount Vantage, which just fucking died, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, that like the subsidiary of
the ranch
of Paramount, you know?
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I guess I was like, oh yeah, I forgot, because like I think also Into the Wild was then they like started it up kind of like their own like Fox Searchlight or something, you know?
Right.
But like, yeah, sure. I guess that's just fucking dead, you know?
Damn.
But yeah, like so they're going down. They make Lady Killers. People are out, or maybe not out, but like you made Intolerable Cruelty. You made Lady Killers. What's going on, guys?
Right.
Then they make No Country for Old Men. It's like, whoa, holy shit. All right. Then they make Burn After Reading, which is like, oh, okay. And then they make A Serious Man, and it's like, guys, you're the best. You know, like
you're really good.
I think that's still my favorite of all their movies.
It's pretty good. A Serious Man is pretty good.
It's so fucking good. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I love that beginning.
Oh my god, it's amazing. Honestly, I'm just gonna watch it right now. All right. It's so good. I think I saw that like 4 times in theaters. This is right when we started going to school.
Oh man. Yeah, it's pretty freaking great. And then Inside Llewyn Davis was good.
Yeah.
True Grit.
I'd say
was pretty good.
True Grit's pretty good. I like True Grit, but I think
it's not like
Inside Llewyn Davis is like some of their best work, I would say.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. No. It's so good, Wes. It's like so good.
And then not even getting into the classics.
Yep. All right, we got to take these boys' dicks out of our mouth. Sitting over here, just being like, "Oh, so good." I'm literally just looking at their IMDb, just going, "Oh, so good."
It's true. But all right. Anyways, well, that's gonna wrap it up. As always, you can find what are you doing?
My mouse is dead.
Rubbing
My mouse is dead.
Oh, okay. They were like rubbing like a fucking piece of paper on your dick or something. What?
You legitimately thought I was rubbing a piece of paper on my dick just now? What are you talking about?
You're like, in the Skype feed, you're kind of like leaning over, like you're like scratching your balls or something.
No, I was rubbing
like paper.
I was rubbing the batteries, because if you rub batteries and you heat them up, they work. And then they didn't work, so I was then rubbing or like doing this to the mouse, trying to get it to work. Rest assured, Wes, right, I'm not gonna masturbate while we're fucking recording a podcast.
I was gonna say we're wrapping up. Just wait a little bit.
Chill out.
All right. As always, you can find other episodes of this podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube.
And you can email us at listentousrantaboutmovies@gmail.com.
You skipped a whole part.
Oh. Well, you read my part, so that's why I just went to the next yellow. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and if you enjoy the show, please consider leaving a review on iTunes. You know, every rating is just money and brings us more listeners.
This episode has completely fallen to shit. Like, honestly. You can email us at listentousrantaboutmovies@gmail.com. Thank you to our Patreon producers, John Pierce, and our Patreon supporters.
You too can be a producer and supporter by visiting our Patreon page and becoming a monthly patron for as little as $1. Visit www.patreon.com/LTURAM podcast.
You're really selling it. You're really getting people excited for it.
It's the goal, right? You tanked there, bud? You fucking juiced right now? You look...
I'm not that
You look juiced,
I think
man.
I just sort of I sort of stopped, like, caring. I'm done. I'll talk to you later.
God damn it.
Till next time, Zach.
Till next time.
Later.